StadiumDB.com presents Serie A Team Stadiums of the 2023-2024. Hi! Another season of league competition is behind us. We already know all the results and we also know who will play in the Italian top tier next season. On this occasion, the editorial team of StadiumDB.com has prepared for you a presentation of all the arenas where the Italian elite will play in the coming season. So, without further ado, here's an overview of Serie A stadiums, which we've ranked according to the places their host occupied in the league at the end of the previous season. And we'll start with the venues of the newcomers. 18th place. Unipol Domus. Capacity 16,416. Cagliari Calcio. In 2015 it was decided that Sant'Elia will be demolished and replaced with a new structure built privately by Cagliari Calcio. All that was left was to relocate the temporary auditorium once more, this time to Sant'Elia's parking site just 200 meters east. With a simple modular structure, the stadium was built within a short period of under 4 months and using a budget of just 8 million euros. It then had 16,200 seats, later expanded in 2018 by 2 western corners and reaching 16,400. Last season, Cagliari finished 5th in the Serie B but advanced to the top tier in the playoffs. 17th place. Stadio Luigi Ferraris. Capacity 33,205. Genoa CFC. The first stands at this venue held around 25,000 spectators and opened in 1911, making the venue the oldest still in existence in Italy. The stadium is shared by 2 Genoese clubs, Sampdoria and Genoa. A posthumously awarded medal for bravery for Luigi Ferraris, a Genoa captain killed during World War I and the current patron of the venue, was buried at the North Stand. Thanks to the modern infrastructure, the World Cup match in 1934 was played here, but the spectator record was set much later. In 1982, the venue's horse derby was watched by as many as 57,815 spectators. The stadium was completely rebuilt stand by stand between 1987 and 1989 to accommodate the next World Cup in 1990. Stadio Luigi Ferraris is considered as the venue of the Euro 2032. 16th place. PSC Arena. Capacity 16,227. Frosinone Calcio. In 2016, Frosinone Calcio were awarded 45-year freehold of the stadium until 2061 and were left with the task of completing the stadium to reach 16,000 and meet all crucial domestic and international criteria. It wasn't until Frosinone Calcio's perspective of Serie A promotion became real that the project got revived. In 2015, upon first ever top-flight season, temporary stands on 3 sides began to be built in order to bring total capacity to 12,000. 15th place. Stadio Marcantonio Bentegodi. Capacity 39,211. Hellas Verona. Opened as a state-of-the-art and one of Italy's largest venues in 1963, the stadium seemed too big for a local team that played most of the time in Serie B. Today, there are nearly 40,000 seats at the facility during the renovation carried out on the occasion of the 1990 World Cup. An extra story and roof were created. Visibility and public transport links were improved and an urban motorway was built to connect the city center with the stadium. In 2014, the venue briefly hosted as many as 3 local teams. In addition to Hellas, it was Chievo as well as Virtus Verona. 14th place. Stadio Via del Mare, capacity 31,559, US Lecce. The initial capacity was 16,000 spectators, then 20,500, to reach as high as 55,000 before the 1990 World Cup, making it the sixth stadium in Italy in terms of capacity at the time. The seating was then reduced to 40,670, a figure that remains today. Unfortunately, due to the homologation, only just over 30,000 fans will be able to attend Lecce's matches in Serie A. Interestingly, Pope John Paul II, who is still remembered in Puglia, spoke at the stadium in 1994. The name of Karol Wojtyła is borne, for example, by the nearby airport in Bari. 13th place, Stadio Arechi, capacity 29,739, US Salernitana. The Arechi is really something else. Even those who can't stand football would enjoy themselves here. These are the words of Italian journalist Maurizio Compagnoni. Nothing to add. The supporters from Salerno are undoubtedly among the country's best. Opened in 1990, the venue is definitely not one of the old-timers when it comes to Italian football arenas. It owes its name to Prince Arechi II and is therefore often referred to as the Prince of Stadiums. Although a total of 37,180 seats have been installed at the arena, not all of them are homologated. 12th place, Stadio Carlo Castellani, capacity 16,284, Empoli FC. Is this another Italian stadium with a patron in its name? Well, you made no mistake. Italy has undoubtedly become fond of naming venues after its former footballers who lost life in tragic circumstances. One of Empoli's all-time top scorers, Carlo Castellani, died in a German concentration camp during World War II. The stadium in Tuscany consists of two main stands and two behind the goals. The south one, known as Curva Sud, has recently been renovated, but there are still plans to further expand the facility. In 2015, Empoli presented a project to rebuild the stadium to a capacity of 20,000, but it still remains in the planning stages. 11th place, Mapei Stadium, capacity 21,525, US Sassuolo. The stadium in Reggio Emilia is the first ever private football venue built in Italy. The decision for the investment was made following Reggiana's promotion to Serie A. Ultimately, the club went bankrupt and the facility was auctioned off. With the city lacking interest in the stadium's fate, the arena was bought by Mapei, the owner of US Sassuolo. Mapei Stadium boasts a capacity of 29,380 seats, but it has been limited for security reasons. In 2016, the Women's Champions League final was held here, and in 2020-2021 respectively, Italian Super Cup and Coppa Italia finals. In the past, in addition to Reggiana and Sassuolo, the venue has played host to the Serie A sides, Carpi and Atalanta. 10th place, Dacia Arena, capacity 25,132, Udinese Calcio. A modern stadium in Italy? It can't be true. Compared to other distinguished arenas from the Apennine Peninsula, the venue in Udine is a real gem. Plans for a major redevelopment of Stadio Friuli were already in the making in the early 21st century, when the Italians were dreaming of hosting the European Championship. However, the country's candidature was not recognized by UEFA. Udinese's owner decided to take matters into his own hands, and as a result, the first construction work started here as early as June 2013. After several phases, the venue received its final form in early January 2016. what makes it stand out from other modern arenas are the 10,000 panels that make up the diamond facade, which shimmers depending on the time of day or the lighting. Hence the stadium's nickname, Il Diamante. We're halfway through, which is a good time to like the video if you haven't already done so, and to leave a subscription to stay tuned for more interesting content. Write in the comment which stadium is your favorite. 9th place, U-Power Stadium. Capacity 15,039. AC Monza. For most of its existence, the Monza Stadium, which opened in 1988, did not look very impressive. Since Berlusconi company Fininvest invested millions of euros in the club, the stadium has changed completely in a few years. As a result, before the start of last season, the U-Power Stadium had a capacity of more than 15,000 fans. Unexpectedly, AC Monza has finished last Serie A season at a high place, and the team is aiming even bigger, which it will try to achieve in the coming season. 8th place, Stadio Olimpico Grande Torino. Capacity 28,177. Torino FC. There is a long and eventful history behind the venue of the 7-time Italian champions. The stadium's name refers to the legendary Torino team that died in a plane crash in 1949. From its opening until the end of the Second World War, the arena was infamously known as Stadio Municipale Benito Mussolini, and from 2005 to 2016 as Stadio Olimpico, which hosted the ceremonies at the Torino Olympic Games. Torino's local rival, Juventus, also played here between 1933 and 1990, and from 2006 to 2011. In its best days, the stadium could accommodate more than 60,000 people in the stands. In the past, it hosted World Cup and European Championship games as well as UEFA Cup finals. 7th place, Stadio Renato Dall'Ara. Capacity 38,279. Bologna FC. The venue was expanded and modernized for the 1990 World Cup, which was already the second event of its kind played in this arena after the tournament in 1934. The hallmark of the venue is above all the famous Marathon Tower, which is sure to remain an integral part of the stadium even in the event of another redevelopment. On November 17, 1993, the World Cup qualifying match between San Marino and England took place here. San Marino's Davide Gualtieri scored after just 8 seconds of play, taking his side into the lead. Gualtieri's strike was, until 2016, the fastest goal ever scored in the history of international matches. 6th place, Stadio Artemio Franchi. Capacity 43,147. ACF Fiorentina. The stadium fits in perfectly with the architecture of the city of Florence, and although its history is definitely not equal to other more famous buildings, as a football venue, it serves as a true monument. Like Stadio Renato Dall'Ara in Bologna, the Artemio Franchi is mainly known for its 70-meter marathon tower. The stadium underwent renovations for the 1990 World Cup, which included the removal of the running truck and an increase in seating capacity. During the tournament itself, it hosted 3 Group A matches and the quarter-final clash between Diego Maradona's Argentina and Yugoslavia. Worth almost 200 million euros, the redevelopment of the stadium and its surroundings is scheduled to begin in autumn 2023 and be completed in 2026, just in time for Fiorentina's centenary. However, as it is common in Italy, you just never know what to expect. 5th place, Allianz Stadium. Capacity 41,507. Juventus FC. This is one of the few examples when a large stadium is being torn down after only 20 years in operation, just to be replaced by a venue nearly twice smaller. But since Stadio delle Alpi was full only in 1/3, and for all its existence remained very unpopular, Juventus started applying for a new ground only a decade after the Alpine Stadium was opened ahead of the 1990 World Cup. It all ended with a happy end in 2011, when the Bianconeri played at Juventus Stadium for the first time. Since July 1st, 2017, it has also been known by its commercial name Allianz Stadium. It is considered one of the most modern venues in the world, one of the architectural symbols of modern Turin, and one of the city's main tourist attractions. The club's popularity and the number of spectators in the stands skyrocketed even more following Cristiano Ronaldo's transfer to the Piedmontese capital in 2018. Remarkably, Juventus lost only 3 of their first 100 league games at the venue. In its relatively short history, the stadium has hosted the Europa League final in 2014, the Nations League final in 2021, and Women's Champions League final a year later. 4th place, Gevis Stadium, capacity 16,268, Atalanta BC. On June the 5th, the day after the Atalanta-Monza game, the last match of the 2022-2023 season, construction began, which will start the 3rd phase of the stadium redevelopment. The work will also lead to the reconstruction of the Curva Sud Morosini, the visitors sector, and the Distinti Sud, as well as the construction of the adjacent underground car park and older urbanization works included in the implementation plan. 3rd place, Stadio San Siro, capacity 75,817, AC Milan and Inter Milan. Although today the monumental construction is very impressive, San Siro wasn't always huge. In 1926 it could accommodate just about 10,000 people. That changed in 1939, when redevelopment increased the capacity to 55,000. In the mid-1950s, the venue entered the elite group of 100,000 seaters and remained there for another 30 years. It was not until the removal of standing places that the capacity of the stadium was reduced to 85,000 in 1989. The 1989 redevelopment was also the last major one, done due to the World Cup in 1990. 11 spiral staircases were mounted, 4 of which at the same time became support for the roof. The venue is covered thanks to huge red trusses overhanging the seats. In its history, Stadio Giuseppe Meazza was the setting of many great games, starting with the Derby of Milano and ending with prestigious international matches of Azzurri, Champions League finals and World Cups. Its fame seems everlasting, as in recent decades it is consistently among 10 European venues with the largest club attendances. Despite the alarms about the potential demolition of San Siro and either Inter or Milan moving to a new stadium, for the time being there are no signs that things are about to change in this regard. 2nd place, Stadio Olimpico, capacity 73,261, AS Roma and SS Lazio. The 2nd largest stadium on the peninsula is located in the Foro Italico Sports Complex, north of the city center. The venue is owned by the Italian National Olympic Committee and, in addition to Serie A matches, is also used for international games. Stadio Olimpico is also the regular host of the Coppa Italia final. The facility was transformed ahead of the 1990 World Cup, including the installation of a roof, and hosted the final, in which Germany beat Argentina 1-0. Both the opening and closing ceremonies of the 1960 Olympic Games, 4 European Cup finals, 2 European Championship finals and the 1987 World Athletics Championship were also held here. Although the 70,000 capacity is definitely impressive, with Roma and Lazio fans regularly filling the venue during the capital's derby or more important matches in Europe, it was not at a football match that the highest attendance in the stadium's history was recorded. Claudio Baglioni's concert in 1998 attracted over 100,000 spectators to the Olimpico. First place, Stadio Diego Armando Maradona, capacity 54,726, SSC Napoli. The team finished their 2022-23 season in the first place, and it was an ecstatic moment for the whole city. The celebrations continue there to this day. Napoli hadn't won Serie A for over 30 years, with their last scudetto back in 1989-90 season. Initially called the Stadium of the Sun, the venue was soon renamed to Stadio San Paolo, before a proposal was made in the late 20th century to change their patron to Diego Maradona, due to the footballer's unique relationship with Napoli. Following the Argentine's death in 2020, the long-awaited name change was finalized. The venue hosted matches during Euro 1980 and the 1990 World Cup, before which it was significantly rebuilt. Before the latter event, it received the massive roof that exists today and additional sectors on the crown of the facility. This was the final venue in our review of Serie A team stadiums for the 2023-24 season. Which of the featured arenas do you like the most? Be sure to let us know about it in the comments section below. Don't forget to subscribe to our channel too. See you in the upcoming videos. A presto!